Old Man Manoy was a kind soul. He lived in a farmhouse with his grandson, René. René was a curious boy, always eager to explore. He loved to visit his grandfather in the fields. He would sit for hours listening to Old Man Manoy's stories.
One day, Old Man Manoy was teaching me about the farm. He pointed to the windmill at the top of the hill. The windmill had long arms that spun in the wind.
"Never go near the windmill, René," he warned. "It's dangerous."
My eyes widened. I was both scared and curious. I promised my grandfather I would stay away. But deep down, the windmill's mystery called to me.
The farmhouse was cozy and warm. It was surrounded by fields of golden wheat. But the most fascinating thing was the windmill. It stood tall and proud on the hill. Its long arms creaked and groaned as they turned.
I tried to forget about the windmill, but I couldn't. I would sneak glances at it from my bedroom window. I imagined myself flying high in the air, riding the windmill's arms. One breezy afternoon, I couldn't resist the urge any longer. The windmill's arms were spinning fast, beckoning me. I tiptoed past my grandfather, who was taking a nap.
As René approached the windmill, the wind seemed to whisper a warning. He remembered his grandfather's words. But the closer he got, the more the windmill seemed like a giant friendly bird inviting him for a ride.
I reached out a hand to touch the windmill's wooden frame. It felt rough and old. I took another step closer, drawn by an irresistible force. The wind picked up, and the windmill's arms whirled faster. I took a deep breath and jumped. I thought I was going to soar with the birds. Instead, I was thrown high into the air.
René tumbled through the air. He screamed, but the wind swallowed his cries. He landed with a thud in a field far from the farmhouse. He was scared and alone, wishing he had listened to his grandfather.
I looked around and saw I was in a strange part of the countryside. I didn't recognize the fields or the distant houses. Just then, a group of strangers approached me. They were smiling, but their eyes were cold.
"Are you hurt, little one? We saw you fall. Come, we'll take care of you."
René, desperate for help, took their hands. The strangers took René to their cottage. They gave him food and a warm drink. René thought they were kind, but something felt off. He couldn't shake off the feeling that they were hiding something.
I can't help but feel uneasy. They seem nice, but there's something strange about them.
He listened closely to their conversations. He learned they were planning to rob the local market. They spoke of using a secret passage to escape. René's heart sank. He was trapped.
Oh no, they're planning something terrible. I need to warn someone, but who would believe me? I'm just a kid who disobeyed his grandfather.
As the strangers finalized their plan, René knew he had to warn someone. But who would believe him? They were strangers in these parts, and he was just a kid who disobeyed his grandfather. That night, while the strangers were asleep, René made his escape. He found the secret passage they had mentioned. It was a narrow tunnel that led back to the familiar fields near his grandfather's farm.
I have to get out of here. I need to warn the villagers.
He ran and ran, the wind whipping at his face. He could hear the windmill in the distance, its rhythmic creaking a comforting sound. He burst into the farmhouse, breathless and scared. Old Man Manoy was relieved to see him.
Grandfather, I need to tell you something. The strangers, they're planning to rob the market. I'm so sorry for disobeying you.
René, through tears and sobs, told him everything about the strangers and their evil plan. He confessed his disobedience and the consequences of his actions. Old Man Manoy, though angry about René's disobedience, was proud of his courage. He gathered the villagers and told them about the strangers and their plan. The villagers, armed with pitchforks and courage, apprehended the criminals just as they were about to rob the market.
I can't believe it. We did it. We stopped them.
From that day forward, the windmill sang a new song. It was a song of warning, a reminder of the day a curious boy's disobedience almost led to disaster. But it was also a song of courage, celebrating the boy who righted his wrong. Old Man Manoy made changes to the windmill, making it safer. He added a sturdy fence around it and a sign that read, "Danger, no entry." He knew children could be curious, and he wanted to ensure no one else repeated Renee's mistake.
I'll never go near the windmill again, grandfather, I promise.
Renee, forever changed by his adventure, never went near the windmill again. He learned a valuable lesson about obedience, understanding that rules were there for a reason. He promised his grandfather he would always listen to his advice, knowing that wisdom came from experience and love.
Thank you for understanding, grandfather. I've learned my lesson.
The windmill continued to spin, a silent guardian of the farm, and a constant reminder of the importance of listening to wise words and being cautious around unknown dangers. For in the heart of every adventure, there lies a valuable lesson waiting to be learned.